Okay, folks, good evening. We'll see how far we're able to go tonight because we got some thunderstorm situations going on, which is one of the reasons I wasn't on last night. They were really bad, and I had a headache that I couldn't shake. It took me a long time to shake it. But I basically wimped out because of the headache. I pretty much would rather have anything other than a headache. I don't do well with one, and the thunderstorms probably started rolling around 9. So I'm glad I didn't connect, or it would have been a short one. They were actually pretty heavy, really pretty heavy. All right, let's get a pair of regular glasses too. We're gonna try to do this for the readers. And yeah, it rained we had probably thunderstorms for probably 3 or 4 hours, and then I got woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning with our froggy friend that wanted to have a orchestra all by himself, and he was extremely loud, and he was right outside the window. It was very, very, very loud. So, and I am not a fan of lightning by any stretch of the imagination. And before I left work, that we had lightning that hit the closest I'd ever seen lightning hit. It was probably within 100 feet of me, and yeah, it's way too close. So hopefully we don't lose power and all that nonsense. The girls are still out of town. They're not going to be here for a while, supposedly. So let's get rid of all this jewelry. Okay, and see what we got to deal with here. So we've got a KV1 and a KV2. I did do my homework, so I do have decal ideas, slogan ideas for both of these. I've already picked them out, 2 for each, because remember, I've got also turrets for these as well to do. I have to manufacture something that has the hatch open because it doesn't come with a latch. It comes with a separate hatch, but there's actually like a little latch that would sit between it. Just a little piece of card or something like that will do it. We'll go back and do that one. I believe this guy is done for the most part. It was the KV2 that I stopped before I was working on it. So we're going to try to do some scratches and some highlighting points on this thing. Obviously, it's still going to get dry brush with the terrain colors. And yeah, we'll go there. And so let's get the wet palette back out here and see if we haven't grown a mushroom in there. I don't think it's been closed long enough for that. Oh, but it did get closed at an angle. Son of a biscuit eater. It's not a big deal. It's just unsavory to look at. Yeah, we got this shit all over the place, don't we? Yeah, well, it's going to stay like that. I'll clean it up when I'm ready to clean it up. We're just going to take some of this out. So these are supposedly reusable, and I've never tried to reuse them. I guess they are. I guess they are. Let's get rid of some of this mess. Okay, wasn't that bad. I just had it stacked kind of at an angle and was pretty wet. So, okay. As we're going to mix a batch of, which ones do I have on? I've got the readers. No wonder I'm more comfortable with that one. I wish I could just paint these, but I'd have to get far away from it. Or farther away from it. Let's get some green here. And some dark sand. Yeah, I'd like to get to the point where I paint the slogans. That's the fun part. That's the part where I can put my spin on it. Some people, oh, how do you paint slogans? One stroke at a time. It's not difficult. It's a lot easier than cooking, and lots of people cook. I guess it just depends on what you set your little heart out to do. Got on here earlier than my normal time. Figured I'd catch some new people, but maybe everybody's still eating. That's even before 6. Hey, the girls are coming home, so I want to make sure I make some good headway. All right, let's take this off of here. And this was so much easier 6 years ago when I didn't have to use these glasses. I could just paint in 2020 vision. I don't want to take the contacts out because then I'm like a mole. If you guys write anything on the screen, I've got to get all up in it. Let's see, can we do this? Yes, yes we can. Yes we can. And we're still going to be doing dry brush with the terrain colors. This is just any things that need a little bit more motivation to stand out. So I'm still patiently waiting on my next submission of my trades for Noble Knight. They must be swamped because it says 1 to 3 days, and I didn't hear back from them today, and today's the 3rd day. So what that means is I don't know what kind of deal they're going to give me, if I'm going to end up getting the stuff that I was going to plan on getting with it, which means I'm not going to buy the cruise from the AB miniatures. I'll make do with what I have. Yeah, AB miniature sale that Painting Panzers was talking about. I talked about it last weekend, that they were offering free shipping. I'm not going to get any of it. And it's not because their stuff isn't good. It's just, I got lots of stuff. I got all those kits that came in the other day. If you guys watch my unboxing, I haven't touched them. And I don't feel bad about not touching them. The reality is I haven't touched them yet. And I will, but I need to finish this. I don't mind switching between this and the house. One kit in the house, but start hopping between too many things and nothing gets done. So that's no good. I was hoping I would hear from Noble Knight so they could, realize how much they're giving me. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get some British tanks and then get the British cruise for them from AB, but I don't want to get them and then realize I'm not going to do that. If I need something that badly from AB, I'll pay for the shipping. I do stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know what to do, so I don't do anything. Instead of, throwing, like I like to say, throw money at the problem. I'm not a fan of that. Doesn't feel good to throw money at the problem. Not for me. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to offer for me to the stuff that I sent them, because I'm just never going to get around to painting them. Hey, Mr. Doug, how are you? Maybe it'll do somebody some good, and especially when they get it and they realize that all the stuff that I have is in really good shape. I try to take care of things. That's why I hate using rules that have really nice, beautiful rule books, that as you learn the rules, the rule book gets destroyed. It's almost like you got to buy the rule book and then buy a PDF and just use the PDF. You know, it is easier to look up things in a rule book, but it just breaks my heart when something's just worn out. It just, I don't like that. Oh, they will. They will. You're not related to you. They're not named after you, are they? No, they will. I just wanted to hear from them today so I can realize, oh, you're going to give me, say, $200. Okay, and then I go, okay, with $200, I'm gonna get this stuff, and since I'm gonna get those, and they're gonna send them to me, I'll go ahead and get the cruise for them from AB. It's no big deal. I thought about it. Off and on throughout the day, and that's the right decision. You know, I can always pay for shipping later. People had some really nice things to say about Eureka Miniatures USA. That basically, unfortunately, no. Well, it could be worse. You could be, and then you would stuck working at a hobby store your whole life, which sounds good, but probably doesn't pay the bills, as well as whatever it is you're doing. So, I've run into several people because I'm really looking forward to retiring, however many decades away that is. About 2. Under 2, I would like to think. And a couple guys said, yeah, well, I tried retiring, but then I didn't have anything to do. I was bored. I don't think that's going to be my case, unless I'm, I can't paint or stuff, I can't work on hobby stuff. Like, I got plenty to do. I can't wait to retire. Just can't pay the bills. I've just hit, well, in less than a year, I will have been in my place of employment for 30 years. I'm on 29 and a third about. And several people have said, oh, how come you're not retired yet? Because it's not the freaking military. It's not the government. I don't get a pension. Here in the U.S., you gotta get up to the magic number. My magic number is 67, so that's 15 years away. I would like to think that in 15 years, that's it. I'm done. I hope so. I got plenty to do. I don't want to retire when I'm too old to be able to do shit. I don't have an extravagant lifestyle, I mean, it is a little bit more extravagant than Mitch. I mean, I do wear shoes occasionally. So... Have you watched one of their, Doug, have you watched one of their videos of, there's at least one person that did a walk around, you're close to drawing Social Security. I hope you stay healthy, man. I hope you you earned it. I'm not a jealous person like, oh, I can't believe you retired. You earned it. You should be able to. Look, you were forced to pay that money in. You may have chosen not to do it, but we didn't have the choice. So, enjoy it. Hope you get to use it for a long time. I got plenty of stuff to paint. A year away. There you go, man. Still healthy. I know two older people. Well, they were friends of my parents. That worked. I'm going to say late into their life, but I'm going to say into their 70s. And then when they stopped working, they went into the all I do is sit and watch TV. And their health went to shit. Now, every day that as you get older, that's eventually going to happen anyways as we get older. But it really escalated, like the speed of the decline. And I don't think that's going to be me because, I'm using, even when I'm not working, I feel like I'm using my brain all of the time. I'm always thinking about stuff. It might be, it's always more fun things to think about, but it's still thinking. Wargaming this is a thinking thing. You don't just sit around and, roll dice. Well, maybe if you play Warhammer, but you just, it's always learning. You're always doing something. It's fun to think. But yeah, those two people just, their health just went to shit. I'm always thinking. Doing this with you guys, I think, makes me think even more. Because I've gotten to the point where I like to talk to myself if I'm trying to do really complicated things. Just kind of like if it was a monologue. It just helps you kind of process everything. It's kind of like it's like doing an outline. It helps you kind of process things. So hopefully I don't seem a little too out of sorts today. Like I said earlier, I got woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning by a frog that wanted to do a whole concerto by itself. And it was just like that much in a row. And it's a shame because they're cute, but they don't need to be right on the window making that kind of racket. But luckily I went to sleep not terribly late, so I'm okay. And I've been coked up on caffeine, so. But this is what I wanted to do yesterday, and I really couldn't do it because of the storms, and which we have them today, but they were really bad yesterday. And I had a little bit of I'm not sure what it was, headache, neck ache. I think it was a headache. Just didn't want to go away. You know what? I got a headache, and the weather changed. I feel like that has to do with stuff. Sometimes the weather changes and you get a headache. I don't know, by the time you have all this stuff figured out, you're freaking dead. The mysteries of the human body and how it works. All right. This guy went climbing over here and he scratched up a lot. And of course, we're going to have other weathering on here. This is just kind of a sub-layer. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm not a fan of chipping. I don't think it looks right at this scale. I like a balance between a playing piece and something that's realistic, somewhere in between the two. Okay. This is the distance I need. I see it really good here. Because I want to do the slogans, man. That's where my excitement is. Already picked them out. So here's the thing about slogans on KV1s and KV2s. or markings. There is very few pictures and decals for inspiration on those two tanks. I am really surprised. I thought there would have been a lot more. There isn't. Like for the KVs I had, that look decent, because some of them are just freaking ugly, Let's see, do these two look equivalent? Yes. Yes, they look equivalent. Equivalenty. Okay. And then we'll just go ahead and mount this on here. Gives us something to hold on to. Looks equivalenty. Make my own words up. I say a lot of stuff I would never write. I have really good spelling and stuff like that, but sometimes in just your vocabulary, when you're trying to get words out, you just kind of rush it. Yeah, well, the worst thing about work, one of the worst things about work, is I don't have that many days off, and it is a nightmare to use any of them, because you get punished for using them. You got to do all the work ahead of time, and then you got to fix shit when you come back. If you're retired, you don't have to do that. And I don't have a job where I check my email when I'm there. I'm at least, when I'm not at work, I'm not there. Oh, good, you're here, Jeffrey. Because I've got something to talk to you about. It's the anions in storm clouds that set off your headaches. I suffer the same when there's thunder going about. Tongue taste like when you lick a battery just before this. I'll take your word for it, because I am not a science guy. If we want to talk about maps or something, I'm your guy. Not science. I'm not anti-science. There's just a lot of shit I don't understand, and I'm not interested enough about it to look into it, because I can't be into everything. And I'm not into irregular math, abstract math either. Screw that. And I'm not talking about algebra. I use algebra every moment we're solving for x, whether we realize it or not. So Jeffrey, I noticed you on another thread. You said you can't wait until I start painting World War II naval again. Well, it is my first love. It is my first love. And I feel like I need to, I don't know about get back into it, but I don't want to forget all the shit that I learned. The stuff that, when you play a war game, when you play a historical war game, you are learning things whether you realize it or not. And, in a historical war game, you're learning about things that really happened, hopefully, unless the game is really unrealistic. But I got rid of all my ships. Mainly because I wasn't happy with how they looked, and I wasn't going to repaint them. And that's really the first stuff I started painting with. So, when I was like 15 and stuff, I had 1/2400 scale ships. And they looked okay, but not by the standards of the stuff that I've improved on. The problem is that I am real picky as a rivet counter. That's the naval equivalent of a tread head. As a rivet counter, I am really picky about the amount of details that a naval game has. I can't play an abstract D game. So I'm out on stuff like, general quarters, and actually I don't know about general quarters. I've never played it, but sea power. I remember somebody said played sea power or using factors for gun. No, absolutely not. But it is my first love, because that's that was the first thing I went to after the history related when I was a kid. When I was around 11 years old, I started getting into the World War II stuff, and Bismarck and all those Nazi bastards are running around. And I picked up books on that in junior high school, in sixth grade, and that's what I started reading. And my dad had all those coffee table books on the ships, and yeah, that's really my first love, wargaming wise, was naval combat. And a lot of people just have never played naval combat. Now, I'll admit, naval combat interests me because I'm interested in the ships. You look at the silhouette, oh, that's a so-and-so, or that's a, and then you're like, oh, okay, it was painted like this, it was this battle, all that kind of stuff. Sailing ships, can't get into sailing ships. I can't get into sailing ships at all. They all look the same to me. Like, if you look at a Napoleonic and say, we're going to do Trafalgar, they all look the fucking same. I mean, maybe if you get in really close, you're like, okay, these guys, the gun ports are painted different. I don't give a shit. They're not exciting, Even World War One, that many people think is boring, you can look at a silhouette and go, okay, that's an Orion, or that's you can at least identify them. Sailing ships just don't do it for me, unless you can tell the difference between something like from the Armada time period and something that's Napoleonic. But I can't look at a ship and go, oh, that's a Napoleonic one. Oh, that one's actually from the Grand Alliance or something. That's hard to get excited about. You started moving on modern 1-3000 ships on eBay. You've started moving on modern 1-3000s. Okay, here's the breakdown in the English language. So you're selling ones you have, or you're getting them. You've started moving on modern 1-3000s. It makes it sound like you're selling them off. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just not getting it. I've got to set the shipwreck rules. I just don't want to play it bad enough to play it. I painted some Japanese and some Chinese moderns in 1-6000s. They're super cute. They turned out, I think, really, really well. I'm really happy with them. I just don't have it in me to start reading the rules. I don't know, just something about it. It's just not. It's almost kind of like I'm saving all of my energy, all of my explanation, all of my rules, figuring out I'm going to have to do on my own for this game, for the Skirmish World War II. And I'm afraid of coming up with anything else that's going to distract me from ever playing this. I mean, and I'm okay not playing with this stuff. What I'm not okay with is playing other things. And because I'm playing those other things, it keeps me from getting to this. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm fine building these guys, and we can talk World War II stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to get so into what's the name of that thing that I was getting into? I just don't have the time for it. Gaslands, that my energy for doing this has gone out the window. Selling. Too many ships, painted and unpainted. Yeah. Never really got into the modern stuff. I got them because I think the shipwreck would have been pretty cool. Fast little set of rules. I know it's got a lot of things that are abstracted. And that's okay because I'm not a modern person. But, there's a set of rules out that I have that has a lot of really good scenarios. And I think that's the one that's done by Larry Bond called, I don't remember what the hell it's called right now. But I've got 2 books on the Mediterranean, and they're freaking awesome. There's some excellent scenarios in it. But they have 2 armor numbers, a horizontal and a vertical. Like, what the fuck? I mean, how can you play? How can you be a ship? How could you be a rivet head? I was going to be a ship Nazi, but that's not true because the Nazis really weren't that detailed. That's a misnomer. Think, oh, they're like really detailed about stuff. No, Nazis were fuck ups. Among other things, let's put some of these scratches and shit on here that some of them might be covered up. With only 2 freaking armor numbers. That's absurd. What do you mean? Well, it's horizontal or vertical. Yeah, okay, well, is it deck? Is it the turret? Is it the turret top? Is it the turret side? Is it the belt ends? Superstructure, conning tower. Barbettes. Come on, man. Give me some more numbers. So, that guy, Mr. Yorkshire, who's doing that game and who's doing ships in 1/700, which is pretty impressive. You know the amount of detail I would have to put in a game to play with ships that are that detailed? A lot. I mean, I'm used to playing Sea Creek. It'd have to be Sea Creek. Well, Sea Creek would probably do it. Sea Creek's got is very, very crunchy. I don't think it's difficult. It's very, very crunchy. Yeah, it just gets to the point where you're tired of looking at shit. And you're like, as long as you're not giving them away, sometimes you just have to free your soul by just get rid of things that are just in your way. Like, let's say you have something that's in your closet, like this is your closet, and you always have it here. And to get anything back here, you have to move these sons of bitches out of the way and then put them back. Whatever this son of a bitch is, get rid of it. Because, after 20 years of that, you just got to realize, I'm never going to get to this. Whatever that happens to be. Just be done with it. Like my Wings of War. Well, I mean, unless they don't give me anything for it, I'm not going to play Wings of War. It's a great game, but, there's things about it that make it not perfect. But, I don't really want to teach everybody how to play the game. I just got, I don't know. It just, our game group is kind of, I think it's a problem because we never know who the fuck's going to show up. It doesn't bother other people. It bothers me a lot. Who's going to be there? Well, we don't know. And they don't know till the last minute, and then somebody cancels. And I mean, real life stuff happens, but you have to realize that that's what my job is like. And I don't want that in my hobby time. So if I have a day that's too stressful, I just tell them I'm not going. Instead of like wondering, am I going to get there on time? Am I going to be late? Are they going to be started? And I'm holding everybody up. I said, fuck it, I'm not going. You started with your mate's simple World War II naval rules using cards with the details written on them. Then 1979, discovered Davco's 13000, tried Fletcher Pratt, then Skytrek's naval World War II rules. I've not played any of those. I've really only played Sea Creek 4 and a dabbling of 5. But Sea Creek 4 back in the late 80s and the early 90s, I played hundreds of games. Maybe not more than 200, but trying to get involved in any naval games that are as complex as college courses. Wings of War planes. I don't know how many I have. One thing I'm not doing, until you give me a price, I'm not pulling stuff out and organizing it. Because I got all my cards in decks, so I'm gonna have to divvy them all up and put these in the boxes. I kept all the boxes, but I don't remember which boxes go with each one. I can go online and find out what goes in each one and which planes. I don't mind games that are too complicated as long as the thought process is logical. So so the first thing you do is movement should be easy. Okay, how far you fire? Okay, land a hit. And then once you land a hit, it's obvious. Okay, what happens after landing a hit? Roll for hit location. Okay, what happens then? Roll for penetration. Okay, that makes sense. And then what? And then roll for effect. When things get too abstract, I tune out. I can't do, like, I would never play. I would never play a Phil Barker naval game. I would rather not game again. And I think of the world of Phil, but no, you're not abstracting my religion, so to speak. You know. Yeah, I think of the world of Phil, but you know, I've done all. It's not very satisfying as a detailed painter to play his rules because I just feel like I'm putting way too much effort into a game that just doesn't reward me in the play. You know, and my solution isn't, well, just dip everything and paint them. No, I can't do that. You know, I'm not going to pull a Picasso. Oh, well, Picasso could paint really well, but he decided not to because he was lazy? Not a Picasso fan. Sorry, folks. And he was a communist. Double whammy. Yeah. Damn battleships again. Hell no. You mean all battleships are the same? Absolutely not. I wouldn't even stand for something like all British World War I battleships are the same. Absolutely not. Nope. You're barking at the wrong tree. You've only played World War I Naval DBA only once. Be very careful. I will only say this one time. Listen very carefully. I will only say this once. He's a brilliant man. But that's not how I think. I'm basically playing a game that is not, that I have to, like, change the way I'm programmed completely. A little bit more edging on there. But, you know, don't tell other people how you want to play a game. We got a game coming up on a Saturday, and I went ahead, you know, and 24th, and I went ahead 2 weeks ago and told them, I asked, so what are you guys playing? And they told me, we're playing this and we're playing this. And I'm like, okay, don't count on me. You know, I don't want to badmouth other rules, but I don't want to play Flames of War. I don't want to waste my time on a Saturday playing a game. The company's good. You know, all the guys are cool. I just don't want to play that. I just don't want to play that game again. You know. I mean, other people are like really, like, oh, I'm not going to play that game. Well, it's my. I put up with shit for 18 years. I ain't putting up with it no more. I don't force other people to play my stuff. Right back. Let me go get a. What are we going to get? We're going to get a soda. We'll leave the mic going. And I don't know if I'm ever going to make that video about why I don't play BBA again, regardless of what the poll says. If you want to know, just need to tune in. Because I don't want it to sound like, well, it wouldn't be a negative video. As I've had some great times with it, met some great people. But, ya basta. you know? Um, and the main thing is that, you know, I compromised what I wanted to play for the good of the people I played with. And not everyone, but many people just didn't make it a priority to show up to our games. And I really don't mean the local people, um, you know. And then it's like, okay, well, um, you know. And then one guy wanted to take over, and well, let's see. It's been how many? It's been how many months? It's been like 2 months, and he still doesn't have the scores for the DBA stuff. It's a lot of work, you know. It just takes a lot of effort. So somebody else can do it. I did it for a long time, and it's keeping me from doing this. And I'm a hell of a lot happier. Is that a Soviet tank? Absolutely. It's KV-2. Right here next to the KV-1. So this is a really cool kit. I did an unboxing of it. It was a bitch to get a hold of. It comes, you can make a KV-1 or a KV-2 out of it, and it comes with 2 turrets of each. So you can make them both KV-2s, you can make them both KV-1s, you can make them one each, or paint all 4 turrets, which is what I'm going to do, and switch them out as needed. Too hot to sleep here. 55 degrees Fahrenheit. What? "55 degrees is too hot to sleep"? No. Maybe without air circulation. I never complain that it's too cold to sleep. Never. Never, ever, never. We went to Colorado a couple years ago, and it was 18 degrees outside in Colorado, right? It gets colder than that. It gets 18 degrees here in northern Florida. But our 18 degrees is wet, which is more penetrating. I still don't think it's too cold, okay? But, you know, you got to dress appropriately. You don't want to be wet. You don't want to go swimming in that weather. But the main thing is that it's healthy. It's tropical here. Well, 55 degrees. I wish it was in the 40s every day, honestly. And clear skies. I like it wet. When it gets dry, so it was dry as hell in 18 degrees in Colorado. We had to sleep with the windows open, and it was still too hot. Yeah, I can't deal with that dryness. That kills me. It would be really bad for my skin. I got to drink a lot of fluids every hour to keep from getting a massive headache. And I would rather be hot than have a headache. And I hate being hot. I hate being hot if I'm not wearing clothes that are for being hot. Like, for instance, if I'm at the beach, not an issue, right? Water park, you know, no problem. At work, yeah, I hate being hot at work. I hate being hot at home. I hate sitting around somewhere and, you know, be like sweating. You know, swamp ass. Swamp ass weather. Tropical 55 degrees. Well, sounds great to me. I wish I could complain about being 55 degrees. We don't get that many days that are under 55 degrees. I mean, you know, we get, how many do we probably get? 3 weeks worth. Maybe a month. Maybe a month and a half of days throughout the year. Out of 365 days, we probably get 45 days that are under 55. 55 or less. I'm just guessing. It might be a little more than that. But so the idea that anybody can live where I live and complain that it's too cold, it makes you want to punch them right in the mouth. You know, we don't use a heater here in the house. What the hell for? You know, I've actually slept one day before my daughter was born. We didn't turn the heater on, And it got into the 20s or whatever for multiple days in a row. Woke up one day, it was 52 degrees in the house. You know how much you have to pay in utilities to get it down to 52? And it's free? Yeah. That's long sleeve weather, man. I love that shit. I love wearing long sleeves. I just can't. Yeah, they kind of give me a hard time. Oh man, we want you to play, whatever. I'm like, look, I gave you 3 weeks warning. I'm not coming. That's better than everybody else does, with just all of a sudden shows up. Yeah, I'm not going to be there. At least let people plan a little bit. I feel bad. To go and play a game that I don't know how to play, that I've played before, and I'm not willing to learn because I don't really want to play it again. And then you have to take your time slowing the game down to teach me the game. I'm not benefiting. I'm not benefiting the situation by showing up. I'm slowing the process down. So it's just better. Maybe I'll come by for a drink or something, but you guys want to play whatever. I'll just pass on that one. I'll see what the big deal is. Let me stand away from this thing and see if that's enough. Because this thing can't get worn out so much because they'll freaking abandon it if it gets too worn out. So apparently these guys, if it was any kind of a slope, they couldn't rotate the turret worth a damn. I think it looks equivalent. Remember, this has got one shade of dry brushing on it. I think we're going to leave it there. All right. We're going to paint the tracks just in the base color, and then we can go and do the slogans, which is what we're here for. And if you can stick around, I'll show you how freaking easy it is to do. I think it is. Just got to pace yourself. All right. Let's see if we can get away with not taking my contacts out for this. Well, one thing's for sure, this is why I didn't glue it in on purpose. Let's push these things out. It just makes the whole process quicker. I've actually never done this, but kind of like it. Okay, you can go away. Back to the gulag with you. All right. This is too small. I bet you get that a lot. Mm-hmm. Yep. Whoa! Hello. Let's get the racist brown out. German camouflage black brown. Speaking of racist, let's talk about some controversial shit. No, but I did listen to the news a little bit, which I hadn't listened to the news in years. Not that I believed any of it. They're all liars. They're all manipulators to one degree or another. Something in Russian with an exclamation symbol on the end. Yeah, I think actually it's gonna have it. Yeah, yeah. My favorite one is "Crush the Fascist Vipers." That's always a good one. I was saying yesterday. I said I have pretty thick skin when it comes to people posting stuff online. I don't really follow things, but it really caught me off guard. There's this one guy, and you can put whatever you want, but if you put something, and that's the first time somebody sees you that you make a comment of it, they could jump to conclusions about you based on your one thing that you put on there. And this one guy, put, and it didn't bother me, because I just don't believe that there's people out there that really think this way, or that think the way it could be taken. But this guy posted like a picture of a German, not a German soldier, an SS soldier with the runes and stuff on there, and said something, something positive about him, his service. Not like that, but it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm even painted SS. And the SS didn't even hunt my people down. So, well, we weren't over there. So, yeah, I'm not going to say anything positive about anybody in the SS or anybody who's a potential Nazi sympathizer. I'm just not going to do it. There's a difference between saying, at least for me to say, there's some people that fought for Germany that were, fighting to defend their motherland, or their fatherland, or even though they were on the offense, but still, I can make a case for that. But I don't want to. You got to be careful how you put it, because it just sends the wrong message. Just like I talk about people that people can wear the German logo shirts for the 11th Panzer Division. Okay, not even an SS unit. I don't have a problem with it. The Germans were masters of propaganda. I mean, all of their stuff, and that's why they're so popular wargaming. They had cool looking equipment. They had cool looking symbols and iconography and stuff like that. But it was a horrible regime. So, people are really ignorant. I remember when I was in middle school, in the height of the Cold War. I remember, and I was just getting into World War II and stuff, or already been getting in it for a couple of years. And on this desk, there was somebody had scribbled a swastika and said something like, "Screw commies." So people are, ignorant, and you know, you put one thing down, and who knows what people get from it. So, yeah, you got to be careful about wearing stuff like that. It just sends the wrong message, like you want the freaking bad guys to have won. And not just be like, okay, well, their symbols are kind of cool. Or I'm playing them in Flames of War, so this is my kind of thing. I just wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't do that. But that's very different between, I will gladly put, and I got them around here somewhere, an air recognition flag with a swastika on it in one of my vehicles. I'm not going to do it online, because then you get into, getting automatically edited stuff. I'm not even somebody that has a complaint that turns you in, but just there's automatic things that the algorithm is looking for that'll ban your video, whatever, just by you having it on there. They see, oh, it's a crooked spider, we gotta cancel that. And that's without anybody complaining about it. So I'm not opposed to. I'm all in favor of modeling things accurately, but yeah, I'm not wearing a shirt with stuff like that. Even with Wehrmacht stuff. Even a kid, I thought the German, they absolutely were cool, you know. But you gotta, and you probably knew this, they were rat bastards, but they still look cool. I don't want to dress up as one. I mean, if you're in a movie, that's different, I mean, somebody's got to play the bad guys. Not that I'm going to be in any movies, but yeah, that was a lot quicker than trying to jostle around that. Maybe I'll do that more often. Yeah, the Germans had cool kit. When it comes to tanks, though, I think the British tanks are just as interesting. That's why I like the desert. I think the British tanks are even more interesting than the Afrika Korps. I'm not an Afrika Korps fan, because a lot of their stuff is just like, gray and it's super dirty, or I don't know, it just doesn't look right painted in the desert color, the German stuff. But the British stuff looks cool. The British stuff's really, really cool. Plus they got pendants and the cool regimental symbols on the fenders and stuff like that, Big fan of the 8th Army stuff. Even if they had never invented what's it called? The counter scheme, which I think everybody likes. I haven't encountered somebody that says, "Oh, the counter scheme seems stupid." Nope. It gives it some panache. But then, I've always played war games, but, war is horrible. You know? But again, it's the same thing like people that watch horror movies. Or do people that watch horror movies want innocent people murdered? Well, maybe some do. But I don't watch horror movies. But I doubt that's the case. Yeah, I know. The German uniforms are cool. I think the U.S. uniforms, not very exciting. You know. Talk about World War II. Under bombardment. I actually thought about painting some aircraft the other day. 1/72nd, of course. Why would I do something different than that? The problem with doing aircraft is, here's the biggest one about doing aircraft, is do you put the landing gear up or down? When you saw the Germans on Hogan's Heroes, they didn't seem too evil. That's right. And I'll tell you what. The thing that doesn't make sense about Hogan's Heroes is, most of the cast that played the Germans were Jewish. And I think one of the things that they said was they were willing to play the Germans. Well, of course, a lot of people that played the Germans were German Jews. So it makes sense. I mean, they're Germans to play them. But that they weren't going to play them serious or make them seem smart. And I'm thinking, I would not want. Well, I don't want to speak for somebody else, but I'm just thinking if there was a group of people that were exterminating my people, I wouldn't want them to seem dumb, because then why didn't you guys just get away from them? I understand it's a comedy, and it's actually a show I haven't seen in many years, but it's a show I remember fondly watching with my dad. And you have to have some World War II knowledge to appreciate it, the tongue in cheekness of it. But yeah, I wouldn't want to portray people that. Well, I wouldn't want to portray people that were out to kill me at all. I mean, I'm telling you what, if they would have said, hey, you're Jewish, we want you to play German, like hell you are, like hell I'm going to play one, you know? That would be my immediate reaction. But, hey, they went through it. They should be able to pick however they decided to be depicted, because, they had front row tickets, unfortunately, to that horrible situation. But I'm just thinking on the surface, I would not want them to seem like they're just goofy. Well, how do all these goofy people persecute it just doesn't make any sense to me, but. Major Hofstadter. What was the general? I could picture him. I can't remember what his name is. I haven't seen him in a long time. But some things don't age well, and it's not that it's like done in poor form. It's just not as funny as you remember it being. So many things have come out with comedy that it's just one thing after another, and it's like you don't even get a chance to catch your breath. And some things that maybe you watch as a kid, it makes them they lose their luster, because it's not. That's how things didn't used to be that way, where it's just like one thing after another, like comedy wise. So some things that were funny 40 years ago. I mean, okay, so the other day, about 6 months ago, I'm like, all right, my daughter's old enough. Let's watch Blazing Saddles, right? And after about 20 minutes, she didn't want to watch it anymore. She says, Daddy, it's really slow. And you know what? She's right. And I think it's hilarious, okay? Blazing Saddles is the first time I saw it as an adultish. I was over 18. And it was freaking hilarious. And I don't remember it being slow, but now that I'm watching it with her, I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, it is kind of slow. But at least she was willing to watch it. But I remember she was little. She was like 10 years old, and we watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and she loved it. She didn't get to watch the the scene with the sisters, but we fast forward through that. But she liked the rest of the movie. Silly movie, of course. Silly place. Man. Bombardment. Off-board artillery. Ah, there's the frogs. And they're little frogs. They're the whole body of them is probably maybe that big if they're curled up. They're cute little things. And they're useful. They eat insects. Like, eat them all! Yeah, pace of movies and TV is different from them. It is. And you get used to it. Even if you're an old school person like I am, you get used to like, okay, well, this is kind of slow. I've watched things that I'm like, man, there's something else that I watch. I'm like, man, this is really slow, more slower than I remember it. It doesn't mean I can't put up and sit there and watch it, but If I'm watching it with somebody and they generally don't want to watch it, then there's no point in torturing them and forcing them to watch something all the way through. A lot of things are that way, though. Let me check my phone to make sure I don't have any message. I do not. Okay, a message from the wife and daughter that are late on arriving because they're doing the orientation for college. College is about 2 hours away, 2 hours and 15 minutes away, something like that. Even though we live in a college town. I recommend that after kids watch Hogan's Heroes, they should watch The Great Escape and Stalag 17. I have not watched either of those two. I think people should watch the serious stuff before they watch the comedy stuff. And I really don't understand. I think it's a missed opportunity to have done Schindler's List in black and white. I think it is a huge missed opportunity because I remember when I was a kid, I was like 16 or 17 years old, and they had War and Remembrance was on TV, and they had scenes from in full color of Auschwitz, and it's shocking. It's really, really shocking, and a lot of that is lost, in my opinion, by making it black and white. On the other hand, you could torture them by making them watch Hogan Heroes, though. Yeah, it's not readily available. I'm sure you could probably watch it somewhere. It's one of those things I remember watching with my dad. That one and the old Johnny Quest. What else? I'm sure there's got to be some other stuff out there. Didn't really watch war movies with him. He really wasn't into them. He wasn't opposed to me watching them. Just really wasn't his cup of tea. I never got into Westerns. He wasn't into Westerns. I'm still not into Westerns. It's just not a period that I find particularly interesting. You met survivors from the actual Great Escape, and they are amazing people. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, there's actually lots of World War II movies that I have not seen. You know, that are older. Because when those movies were older, I was a kid, and if they didn't play them on TV, I didn't watch them. Daktari. No, never seen it. Never even heard of Daktari. What is it? Is it good? Yeah, if they weren't on TV, you didn't watch them. So, some of those older World War II movies, and if they're black and white, I'm not interested, because, I wanted to see how things were painted and stuff like that. I'm not interested. I have seen black and white movies, but I can count on one hand how many black and white movies I've seen. Maybe two. I'm just opposed to watching things in black and white. That's a little too old. I'm not opposed to foreign films. I'm not opposed to old films. I'm not opposed to things in subtitles. I actually prefer them. At least Great Escape is in color, yeah. Yeah, see, and I get movies mixed up I've never seen because I kind of lump them in the same category. Is Great Escape the one that has Frank Sinatra in it? Probably not. Well, I get that name mixed up with the one that has Frank Sinatra in it, which I have not seen also. And some things just, now I've just waited too long to see them, I think I got my daughter to watch Bridge Too Far. within the last couple of years, and I didn't like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't hate the movie. It just wasn't all that in a bag of chips. And I had seen it before. There's just a lot of stuff in there that's just like, well, this could have been done better. And it was funny. I saw Battle of Britain for the first time within the last year. And it's shocking how their portrayal of the Germans is totally different than how if it was done now. And I like how it's done now better. They're a little too much like, parade marching kind of shit, Yeah. Why didn't I watch Battle of Britain? It wasn't on. Or maybe it was on, but I didn't get a chance to watch it when I was a kid. The best World War II movie was The Train. That's got Burt Lancaster in it? No. Great Escape has a famous scene with Steve McQueen's fantastic motorcycle escape scene. You ready to sit down? Make sure you're sitting down. I'm going to tell you something you're not going to believe. I don't think I've ever seen a movie with Steve McQueen in it. Now, I haven't avoided him. It's just like, I don't think I've seen a movie that he's in. It happens. I can't watch every movie. I don't really watch movies now. And like I said, if I didn't catch it as a kid, if it wasn't on, because that's TV when I grew up was you watch what was on the channel that you may have had. Not like people have access to everything now. Yeah, I've never seen Bullet. I've never seen the Sand Pebbles. I want to see Bullet because it's got all those car chase scenes. Maybe I'll watch it now and be like, I've never seen a Dirty Harry movie. I didn't try to avoid them. I just didn't watch them. I came across somebody who had never seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. What the fuck? I mean, what? What? People in prison have seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. You're stunned. Steve's movies are replayed all the time. Yeah, I just didn't catch them. Well, I don't watch movies now, so it's just kind of hard to... Yeah. But I'm probably not some... I think most people watch too many movies. And I just wasn't one of those people. For many years growing up, we didn't have cable. And we don't live in a huge metropolitan area, which means that our local station has one channel. So, Steve is also in a good horror movie. No, I didn't know that. No, I've never seen him. I've never seen him in something. I couldn't tell you what his demeanor is like. Maybe I wouldn't like the characters that he plays. I don't know. I haven't seen him. Hey, I'm not afraid to admit shit. I can't be the best at everything. Jesus. And there's some actors I just don't like, and that's okay. There's some other ones that I do. I can't like everybody. And it depends what you think is an old movie. I don't necessarily think a movie from this certainly the 1980s I don't consider an old movie because I remember the 1980s really well. But, if you look at it logically, yeah, it was many, many years ago. Mr. Ben, welcome. Anything would be better than freaking Kelly's Heroes. And I said, if I come across it, I'll watch it again and turn the music off. The music is the worst part about it, without a doubt. That hippie shit does not belong in World War II. About a green blob that grew and threatened to destroy a town. Just saw reported that Jeff, who ran Outpost War Games, passed away. Oh, that's a shame. Was he the sculptor too? Yeah, they stopped trading, what, like a year and a half ago or something like that? I liked their stuff. I mean, some of their stuff was quirky, but I liked their stuff. I never ordered from them direct, though. That's a shame. Well, a lot of people in this hobby are guys that have just done it forever, and they do it out of the love of their hobby, and they just get by. And maybe they have children, or maybe they don't. And maybe the children just don't want to take it over because they saw how it basically takes over your entire life. And if it's not something that's like your, I'm going to use this loosely, your religion, they don't want to have any part of it. To be the owner of a company takes a lot of time and love for what you're doing. And a lot of times you have to do a lot of stuff that's not... Like if I made miniatures, maybe I like painting them, maybe I like designing them, but I don't like doing all the taxes and the bookwork and the cleaning the molds and all the CYA bullshit, you know, that maybe the owner can put up with that because they love all the other stuff. But if you bring kids in that don't have that other love, they don't want to do any of it. And I get that, you know. That actually happened at, I don't know if it happened, but I suspect that's what happened at the company that I work at, is the kids didn't want to continue on with the company. I don't know that that's exactly the case, but the kids are doing something different, so I can only imagine. It's hard. So, you know, once this first generation of hobbyists pass away, if they don't sell the molds or whatever, it's just kind of ends, kind of like Legio Heroica happened, like many companies did. Alain Toulaire, that is, you know, his family didn't want to continue with the molds, and I get it. It's difficult, especially if it's something that maybe. And I'm just extrapolating a lot of things here. I'm not talking about Jeff's situation necessarily, but you know, nobody's getting rich doing war games, right? So, and running a business is a lot of work. So people that are left in a family are probably thinking, I don't want to have anything to do with this because it's a shitload of work. It makes no money. I don't have a love for it. And all my husband or loved one or whatever in my family did was do this, spend all this time on this hobby that never made any money and is a lot of work. So yeah, I can see a lot of this stuff dying off, unfortunately. But that's a shame. Hopefully he didn't die ahead of his. Well, I think we're all too young to die. Okay, let's talk about something else. No, I don't like to talk about that shit. My mom passed away when I was 4, and I like to say I never met her, because I don't remember. People show me pictures, I'm like, oh, I guess that's who I look like. All right. But, I mean, I never met her. I don't remember, you know. And, yeah, so I'm not really a fan of death. Okay, we can talk about anything now. Sad news about Jeff. His figures are great. Dealt with him a lot. Met him at Tarj in, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, 1 year. Kirimir. It may not be right, but it's better than most people on this continent can do. And that's good enough for me. No! You're right, you reminded me. Yes! It came out. No, I haven't. Don't spoil them. I'm a fan of the series. Have you seen, did you finally get around to seeing White Bear? Tell me you saw White Bear. I liked most of the episodes of Black Mirror. And what I really liked about them is they made you think. You're not just like, I mean, yeah, you're just watching, but there's stuff to think about. You're figuring shit out as it's happening, and I like that. No, I noticed that there was this, Well, I don't know how many episodes are in it, but season 5 only had 3 episodes in them, and one of them had what's her face in it, who I can't stand. What's her name? I can't remember what her name is. The first episode is really good. Yes, you watched White Bear. Did you like it? What a mind fuck. The other one that I liked was, there's a couple episodes that I really liked. White Bear was my favorite one. My second favorite one was the one that was done in black and white. Yes, believe it or not, I like one that was black and white called Metalhead. I thought Metalhead was pretty good. The first episode is really good. Don't blow it out of proportion, because I'll be like, this Hoffman guy told me that it was really good, and it's not. Okay, good. I have to remember to watch that, because 5 episodes. Okay, cool. I like most of the episodes of all of this all the series. Even the one with Bryce Dallas was kind of interesting. With the whole likes and stuff like that. Bryce Dallas Howard? Bryce Howard? Right, yeah. Opie's daughter. What's that musical girl that I can't stand? Hannah Montana, whatever her name is. I can't stand her. I can't like everybody. Known as Curie, birthplace of J.M. Barrie and Bon Scott from AC/DC. You've suggested Metalhead, but haven't gone around to them. The best thing about Black Mirror, and this really is the best thing, you can watch them whatever order you want. I've heard people say that they all tie into each other. I haven't seen it. The only common thread they have is that technology's not always better. That's kind of the underlying, that's the melody, kind of. Bon Scott and interesting. I like AC/DC, and I like him and whatever the second guy is, Brian Johnson, right? Brian Johnson. I like them both, and it's interesting how they both sound similar yet different. I don't like it being played as a soundtrack to a World War II movie or World War II show, but did I care much for the Truman Show movie? Hated it. Absolutely hated it. It reminded me of Pleasantville, which I also hated. Should I watch it a second time and give it a chance? I don't know. There's some things that appeal to some people and appeal to some. Somebody was telling me one thing that was really good was Scott says if I liked all that kind of that dystopian stuff, to watch the one with the Vicklander girl in it, where she plays like an android. And I watched it. I didn't like that. I don't like movies where something other than humans is looking to end human life. I just have a problem with that. That is an underlying theme that I am spiritually opposed to. So I don't like anything like Mars Attacks, even though it's tongue in cheek. I don't like it. It just sits. It doesn't sit well with me. Like I said, I am a human. I am a devout human supremacist. I don't care what color your skin is or who you like. We're all in this together. And we all need to band against outside forces that try to eliminate us. I just don't. It just feels dirty watching stuff like that. But I don't remember the Truman Show movie other than not liking it. So that radio show you were telling me about, I can't even remember what it's called. The thing on the floorboard or whatever it's called. That would have bothered me as a kid because you're siding with monsters. So I would not have liked that as a kid. You've got like the only voice that you like, the only person you can trust, and they end up being like not who you think they are. I'm like, I don't do well with that. Was watching a bronze beatdown while painting some Sumerians. Those battles went by so fast. Don't know if I remember those. Bronze Age beatdown. No. Most battles that I've played, and I know over 2,000 battles I've played. Most of them, and I would say probably over 75% of them, filmed or not filmed, perception's reality, were really good battles. I had a lot of good times playing that game with some good people. It's keeping me from doing this, and I'm compromising what I'm willing to do for the sake of other people. And I don't mean Mitch, because Mitch is willing to do whatever. He has a really good attitude. But I'm never going to get to paint this stuff and do what I really like if I keep pushing that. And I pushed really hard the last 2-3 years to try to keep people interested in this game, and they just didn't show up, So somebody else can do that now. But, it's just not my kind of game because it's abstract. But they were really good games. Most of the games were really, really good. But I don't remember any of those battles. Some of the craziest battles were the ones that involved naval landing. Just all kinds of insane things happen. Like, your forces are over here, but there's guys on the side. The next side, you're going to attack from the back. Again, not realistic games, but exciting. Okay, we've got the tracks painted. These guys don't have any spare tracks. So man, my feet are actually cold. I like that. I like it when my feet are cold. Almost never happens. Let's drop that. Let me pull the photos off my Pinterest and put one of them on the screen there so you can follow along and I can see what the hell I'm doing. Double whammy. So let's go over here and open this up. I haven't been here in a long time. I hope it remembers to sign in. I'm the world's worst about remembering passwords. It does. Okay, why are you suggesting all this other stuff that I'm not interested in? Like, why is Emma Watson on one? I don't even like Emma Watson. She bugs the hell out of me for some reason. I don't know why. I want tanks on here, Oh, give me a second. I'm going to disconnect my mic, and because it looks like the girls tried to call me. Just give me a small recess, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back up. Now let's see how long it takes to get this running again. We're going to plug this back in. Let's close all these items. We're going to pull the droid cam back up, and bam, look at that. Excellent. Okay, perfect. Okay, so back to... Girls are on the way back from Satan. Oh, really? Lightning is the work of the frickin' devil. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Why couldn't it be alligators, steaks, and terrorists? Okay. Right. So we're going to go here. What was I talking about? Yeah, why is Emma Watson on my feed? I'm not interested in her. Let's go to... Okay, the one that I have called KV tanks. And I have some examples here. Oh, man. Hold on 1 second. I scribble on a piece of paper which ones to go for each tank. Okay. Because what I found is there wasn't a whole lot of really good information. You would think, oh, there's lots of slogans. Well, yeah, I could put whatever slogan I want on it, but if I want like actual pictorial examples of certain slogans, yeah, there's really not that much. So we're not going to do numbers on either one of these two. I have never seen a picture of a KV2 with numbers on it. But my other KV1 is going to have numbers, okay? Not slogan. But this KV1 is going to have a slogan. I saw that flash. I hope it doesn't get too bad. I really don't want to disconnect. It's not that close. This is why I wish we didn't have any trees around us. Trees should not be anywhere near a house. Okay, so my note says Tamiya. And what that means is there was lots of examples of, on the Tamiya, so I'm going to go to ScaleMates just to get my... I haven't looked at it in a couple days. And it's both of the Tamiya kits had the best examples. Even with all the decals and stuff, there just isn't a whole lot of information on them. I was actually quite surprised. Okay, why do I type ScaleMates and doesn't like it and it just sends it down to mates? No, ScaleMates, damn it. Okay, here we go. And we're going to do KV1. We'll just do KV1. Okay, and we're going to go to 1/35th scale. All right, let's find the Tamiya kit. Or Tamiya, as we used to call it, which was wrong. In retrospect. We didn't know any better at the time. Let's see. I don't see it here. Okay, here's the KV1. Here's the KV2. All right, so let's go here. So one of the slogans is for Stalin. I ain't doing any pro-Stalin slogans. Sorry, he's a dickhead. I don't mind doing for Russia, for Soviet Russia, for the motherland. I'm not doing for Stalin. Just like I don't want any pro-Hitler stuff. You know? I don't like these guys with mustaches. Short people with mustaches are nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. Okay, so I'm going to... Okay, this is the one for Stalin. Then there's the one for Russia. And then there's the Motherland Russia, the Optomabad Pokna. I know, that's not what it is, but that's, for English speakers, that's what it looks like. Let's see, can I screenshot this? Because this has them all on the same page. I can. Let's see, prints, control, print screen. No, it's this button, print screen. There we go. Okay, I've saved that now. All right, cool. And let's go to the KV1 because I don't want them to be the same. This is just a refresher course because I've already figured out. I just didn't write them down, what they were. KV1 model is... Well, this is a KV1C, so that's not the right one. Let's go this one with the applique armor, even though we're not going to paint one with applique. It's a shame I didn't do it with the applique, because I do like the way it looks. We'll find another kit and we'll make both of the KV's applique armor. How about that? I really like the way it looks, but those two holes will not have... Okay, so this one's going to have the... So the KV2, the first one is going to have the one that has that funny symbol. That's the one we're going to do. And then the other one is going to have the... the 3A symbol on it with the exclamation point. Okay, that's the two KV2s. The KV1, one of them is going to have numbers on it. Okay, so I've got a couple cool ones with numbers. So the other one that's the KV1 is the one that has that Ben symbol. Ben. Okay, so let's find the decal with the Ben. Well, here's one right here. Is the KV2. Here it is. Yeah, let's do the KV2 first. It's easier. We're going to go ahead and save this, save image. All right, and let's go to... Oh, I had it right here. This one has like a friggin' litany of shit written on it. It doesn't even look right. Some things don't look right. Ooh, is this a cool picture of a T-28? I gotta do some T-28s. It says Stalin on it. Screw that guy. Not a Stalin fan. Not a Hitler fan either. Okay, we've saved them both. All right, now let's create a window on here so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because I'm going to need it to follow along anyways. Let's add a source. See if I remember how to do this. Image. Add source. Add a new source instead. Cancel. Maybe it was an image. Text, display capture, collab, game capture, window capture, media file, application. I took all these things down. Let's try this. Add images to your scene, yes. Add a new source. Yeah, image can be the name of it. Add the source. Okay, we're going to browse. Let's do the KV first. The KV. Let's do the KV first. Obviously, we're going to do a KV first. Thank you. Open it. Okay, done. And we're going to enlarge this. But the one we're interested in is this one that's on the bottom. Let's shrink it. Okay. That's what we're going to do. All right. Now let's put, jeez. I think I can do this with the glasses. All right. Let's get a brush we can trust. It doesn't have to be super small because the writing is going to be kind of big. Nordic, I heard lightning and you show up. Well, we're just kind of, I'm just kind of wondering where I'm going to have to stop filming because of the lightning, which is what happened yesterday. I don't know if you got my message on Facebook, but I wanted to get on here, but between a headache and the lightning, it was really bad. It was much worse than it is today. I didn't want to connect, get everybody here, and then have to leave. So, okay. In Soviet Russia, letters paint you. Slogan paints you, comrade. Yeah, I don't mind painting commie stuff. I'm not putting anything for Stalin. Sorry. Screw that guy. And Hitler, too. Let's see if this is too big. I think it is too big. Because we can build it up as we go. Let's go over here to Brushlandia. Just sent your Noble Knight trade in. The lightning heralds my appearance. Bask in my holy glory. Okay, Inarius. Am I the only one playing Diablo 4 at all? Jeez. It took me almost a week to grind to get a freaking horse. Look out for those positive ions. Okay. So it's about even with the mid. I'm going to put some markings here, which we can get rid of in a second. The top of it. Well, I don't have those. I don't have those steps, and I decided I'm not going to put them on here. That's too big an ask. Brushopolis is the capital of Brushlandia. Yeah. Well, I got a shit ton of brushes over here. Okay. I got a shit ton of brushes. Yep. Well, Noble Knight, it's now been 3 days and they haven't gotten back to me. So, I did not buy the AB figures for the crew because I don't know how much. I don't know if I'm going to get more tanks. Diablo 4 looks really good. I don't want to spend the money on it. I'm getting into Bronze Age 6 mil. Well, yeah, I played all of them. It's the only game I've ever played that I played everyone in the series. I played the first one when it came out. Played every character. played every character through the game at every difficulty level, and it's the only game I've ever done that. Most people will be like, "Oh, I played the monk and I played all the way through the game, and or maybe all the way through the game and the difficulty levels, but I never tried the other characters." Well, they all play considerably different, and it's the only game I can get the wife to play, and it's cool, you know. But it's not something I can sit there and play for hours on end. It's just honestly, when I'm done doing this, even if I don't finish something, I'm in a good mood. If I'm playing video games, you're being harassed all the time by shit, and you're in a bad mood when you're done. I mean, it's fun, but it still puts you in a bad mood. So we're going to work this backwards. We're going to start with the exclamation point, because we don't want to run out of space. Actually, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to start in the middle. We're going to start in the middle. So about the middle is where that H symbol is. I'm going to start with that. Yeah, I was not one of those people that liked Diablo 2 better than 3. The idea that I'm going to go out and buy arrows, fuck you. I'm not buying arrows, okay? That's piddly shit. But I played it. I played all the way through. I played all the characters. I like the Amazon. In Diablo 2, my favorite character was the Amazon. I like to play bow bitches. The most, probably, of all the characters. Okay, so let's do this H. This H. Okay, that's hanging out about right. About there. Then we're going to do the actual H looking thing. I actually don't know what symbol it is. Remember, we're going to go over this, so. And then the Y. And then the exclamation point. Okay. Now we'll work our way back the other way. We have like a fat A. Hey, you fat A. Hey, if you're not going to use the regular alphabet, I'm going to make up the names of your alphabet. We don't all have to speak the same language, but please, can we all just use the same letters? Hey, Eric. Yeah, it's hard with playing a game that you like. The list of games that I like is a lot smaller than the ones that I don't like. And then we have an O. So far, so good. Give me a big P. DBA is too abstract. It is. Field Glory isn't much, but I like the scale of DBA. I like the 12 units. They don't have to be 12, but I like the units being that size. I don't mind the small table. Hail Caesar's a no-go. Yeah, I don't think I'd like Hail Caesar. I don't want to play any game made by the same people that manufacture figures specifically for it. It is just tainted with... Oh, man. Nordic, I thought about you. I thought about you when I came across something. Let me see if I can find this now. Just give me a second. Is when I came across this, I thought of you. I don't know why I thought of you, but I did. So I don't use Reddit much. I'm very new to it, and I just figured maybe there's another way to put, other ideas for modeling and stuff, really until I started getting into World War II, and I didn't really get into it. And sometimes you get feeds from pages, channels, links, whatever you call them, that I didn't ask to join. And this is one that I didn't ask to join, and it was a post off of it. Let's see if I can find this. Let me disable this. Exit that. Okay. Your screen's gonna freeze, or at least the big screen's gonna freeze. Probably less annoying than looking at my roof, so I can find this. And it's a Reddit I didn't subscribe to, and I don't think it's called. It might be No Stupid Questions. I never signed up to it. Why is communism treated such a hush-hush topic? Okay, communist. True communism hasn't been tried, and it shouldn't. It was a post that had to do with, of all things. Let me see if I can do a search. I think that's what the link of it was. It's called it had to do with Scientology. And I don't want to wing it, but it made me laugh and I thought of you. And it basically boiled down to the way that that they keep making you buy stuff that constantly gets reinvented or whatever. It reminded me, it's like, oh, that's like the basic, that's like the business model for like Flames of War. Like Flames of War is like a Scientology-based business model, according to this one guy that described it that way. It was just funny. It was like basically like they keep buying new courses, and then all of a sudden you have to keep buying something because it's the latest and greatest. So it was like I forget what it was. I can't find it, but that's basically what it was, and it's just made me chuckle. I said, "Oh, I'm going to bring that up to you if I see you next time you're on." I actually don't know anybody who's into that, but I'm just saying it was the tie-in that reminded me of, like, the way the some of the game companies do the business models. Okay, we should be back on by just doing this and doing this one, and we should be rolling again. There we go. You're looking at Impetus right now. I have it. I bought it. It's beautiful. Lots of people hate it. Okay, that's fine. Lots of people hated DBA before I tried it. Just try it, and Flames of War really isn't, but Warhammer 40K is. Okay. That was just funny. I heard that. I couldn't find the exact post, but it was something like that. I just happened to scan, like, what is this about science? I don't know anything about that shit. But it's a whole money grabbing thing, and you don't have the latest, so you got to buy everything again. It was just reminded me of, like, how they reinvent shit. We're not getting enough sales. Everybody has everything. All right, new version. Okay, it's a big letter about twice as tall. It's about twice as tall. Big old P. I know, it's like actually an R. Well, when you design a letter and it looks like a freaking P, I'm going to call it a P. That's the Games Workshop philosophy. Scientology. Throwing money at the problem, right? As I like to say. And the A is bigger than the rest of them, but not as big as the P. Yeah, this means for Russia. I believe this is the Zarodinu. If you want to know what the next meta in 40K will be, just look at Games Workshop sales report. Whatever ain't selling will be the new meta. Yeah, like I said, that business model doesn't work well with my slow painting ass. I mean, it just, it's like these people. Jesus. It's like these people that change jobs every year. It just doesn't show that they have any loyalty. And I understand you got to do it for whatever reason, but I'm just saying, as somebody who's worked at the same job for almost 30 years, I look like, you get some new guy at work, so I'll go search him on the internet. I'm like, let's see what this person's all about. A year here, 6 months here, 2 years here, year and a half there. It's like, he's not going to last. That's just how they are. So, why should I spend tens and thousands of hours painting some company's figures that they're just going to not have any loyalty and say, we're not going to support that game anymore? No, what about my time that I put into it? Oh, you're not important. Well, just because you don't value my time doesn't mean I don't value my time. So, yeah. Fortunately, All of those companies make products that aren't really for me anyways, because I don't do science fiction and fantasy. But if I did, I wouldn't put up with that crap because, I mean, we can't take this stuff to the grave, but we certainly don't need to be remaking it every freaking couple of years because they decide to come up with some new business model. Okay, I think we got the basic shape of that. We just have to fill it in. Fill in the 3. Let's make the 3 look interesting. And these are hand painted, and they're probably hand painted by a drunk. Or at least they were a drunk at the time that they hand painted them. Now, some of these slogans sometimes have a slogan on one side of the tank and a number or a symbol, like one of those triangle symbols that looks like this, and it'll be split, and it'll have like 24 and then 3. It's like the 3rd regiment of the 24th or whatever, and this will all be in white. I'm not doing that. I'm putting the slogan on both sides because that looks stupid to my eye to not have it consistent on both sides. All right. Not too bad. We can clean up that that A after the 3 in a second. Okay. Switch the other side. And hopefully not wipe some of it off. If I do, just repaint it. Man, I went through that really quick. Yep, I'm not going to have any of my Russians fighting for Stalin. Sorry. They can fight for the motherland. They can fight for their own people. I get it. Just like I don't want any of my Germans, doing the equivalent. Okay, so this time we have to start on the other end. So we're going to start with a 3 on this end. Actually, I better not do that. I need to space out for the 3. And this is easy as shit. You just have to pace yourself. Yeah, it'll look even better when it's weathered. Because that's the one thing is hand-painted stuff looks really good when you weather over it. So, and I asked a couple Russian guys when I've typed stuff on there. It's like, hey, can you read this? He's like, yep. I said, okay, job done. If I'm paid something in Russian and Russians can read it, I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. All right. I got a couple people on that are Russians on there. I try to be careful what I post on there. I don't have an opinion about the current situation, so I don't want to get into that. Okay, we're starting about that far in. The trick is going to be, how far do I go not doing the small letters yet? I better do the A first. Okay, the 3 is going to be like that. It's going to take up most of it. Okay, so we're going to do the A, and it's going to go a little higher than most of the other ones. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be in the spirit of the original. For me to be happy with it. So there we got the A. The imported tank illustration is blocking it. Okay. How do I do this? Let's see. Is it going to be this way or is it the other way? Of course, it's always the opposite way that I do it. Okay. I have to get on my producer for letting me get away with that. Nobody can see anything. Take it up with my producer. Okay, and we need a big P. How much space we have between there? About a letter's worth. You got to put enough paint in there when you thin it. There's still some paint left to thin. It's always the opposite way. Why is it always the opposite way? Okay. Hopefully that's even better. I just like you guys seeing how easy this is. And the only reason it's easier for me is, oh, let's go the opposite way I would want to go. There we go. Is I've done this a lot of times. Check back in a few days. I've watched any new Black Mirrors. I'm going to watch that first one first. Lightning was a terrible invention. Kind of like armpit hair on women. A terrible invention. Okay, there's the P. Well, you can see it. It's just upside down. Actually, I could probably rotate that. Ooh, let's see if I can get away with doing that. I bet I can. Ah, look at them apples. Penny Mordaunt. That was one of the weekend things. I think that was a Jeffrey comment. Well, now I got to get rid of this or I can't see your guys' comments. we need a big old 3. With the bottom part being bigger. Man, will it just not stop thundering? Okay. Okay, so this one's a little bit wider than the other side. I like it narrow. All right, we can tinker with that. Let's make sure that we get all the places the right thing. I need an O next. It's a little bit smaller than the A. Then the true H. And then the old Y. And then the exclamation point. Oh, that doesn't help. I already flipped it around for you guys. I don't know. It looks, obviously we need to fill it in so it's a little bit more full in some places, but it probably looks better than most of the ones that was hand painted. Well, this brush is better than whatever they probably used, which may have been like the tail end of a horse or something. You know, when you're doing something, the last thing you want to do is have to correct it. So in order, you know, it's like if you're making a poster that says, you know, happy birthday or whatever. If you start with the H, you can run out of space. You know, you got to like pace yourself out and work yourself outwards. It's either that or pre-draw everything, and I really can't do that with this. So if you do this lettering with paint that's diluted enough, if you need to fix it, you're not going to see the thickness of the paint that you covered up over with green, for instance, in this case, because it's really thin. So I do it thin and then come back over it and darken it once I know it's in the right place. That's just how I do things. No point in flipping it over. I'm really freaking happy with that. And yeah, it's not centered in the middle of the turret. The original one isn't either. So like I said, I'm just doing it in the same spirit that that one's done in. Let's darken this one up a little bit. Or fill it in more. It's not really, can't really darken something when you add white to it. And let's see what this looks like on the whole. Where'd she go? All the way over here? And this is where you can kind of do your own spin. If it looks too plain, put like a red star up here. You know, because a lot of these things just, you know, that's the problem. That's why the Germans are so popular. A lot of their stuff has a lot of personality and looks cool. And if you make Russian stuff boring, nobody's going to want to play Russians, you know? And it's not like you're doing something super outlandish. So we're going to leave this one alone just like it is. Let's do the same thing with the KV. The KV1. All right. Let's go and look at this image, and we're going to modify it. And we're going to browse. And we're going to go to the image I have for the KV1. As soon as I find it. Because I have a metric ton of images here. Here we go. Open this one. And done. Now this one's a little trickier because it's the middle one. So I'm going to end up covering up hopefully not the part that I'm working on it. Let's see. How about I cover myself up? You guys don't need to see me. And it's the one that has that bend. How's this? Yeah, okay, so it's the top one. There's no point in taking an image and then cutting it down to size so you only have the other one, you know. I'm probably going to do that 314 as the other one, the one with the commander in it. All right. Let's get rid of the hole. This is a liner brush, and I feel like the liners are so much better to do this kind of writing with. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to put that little cute O symbol in the right with enough space. There's a center port there and it's not visible there, but the ridge right here of where it goes, that line that's right here, that's kind of from there that way is the way that writing needs to be. So we need to put the O there. Okay, so there's our O. Okay, and then we're going to do an A. A W. the backwards N. The C. That's a messed up sound. We'll clean it up. The T. This is an O. This is a different symbol. There we go. Very good. Certainly good enough for gaming. Yeah, that's probably better than the original. There's some sloppy things out there. I love doing this shit. Because this is the kind of stuff that makes your creation, your vehicle, yours. See, I did a boo-boo there. It caught. So we're going to have to come in with some green and clean that up a little bit. But that's why it caught. That's what this stuff's really good for, is to keep the brush from catching. Okay. Now we need to do the bend. We got plenty. I actually did better than the guy that did the illustration. I didn't run out of space. Must be a communist thing. I don't make a very good communist. Okay, now we got the N that's a lot bigger. And one thing you got to remember is that drawing that's up there almost looks like it's stenciled. I guarantee nobody used a stencil for this stuff. Now, let's see what this looks like on a whole. You're just being difficult. By hand looks more realistic. Well, it depends how good a job you do. If you do a really poor job, because there's some things that even are a decal and they just look too sloppy. Whitewash on vehicles is that way. Sometimes a whitewash on a vehicle is just horrendous looking. And it doesn't matter if real vehicles look like that. It's just kind of a hard sell. But I think this turned out really well. You know, we got to do the other side too, which is, you know, easy. Yeah. This is Zarodina for Russia. And then this one is, I don't know what the hell it is. I can look it up. I just like how it is. I would like to use, you know, examples that are, you know, viable. Okay. And like there's a T-34 that had writing on it for Soviet Moldavia. And every one of the tanks in the brigade had the same writing on it. Yeah, I'm not doing that. They got all have to be different because you have to ID them, you know. And if it's units that didn't serve together, well, then it's units that didn't serve together, you know. Okay, off to the other side. Actually, is this dry yet? Let's go ahead and clean up that green. Now, one thing you want to do is when you mix your green, even though this is the base green, I don't want to use this color straight. Okay, I want to add a little bit of black to it because it actually will look better. I don't have to add a whole lot of black, but just a little bit. And I don't want it to be too thin because it'll just keep running all over the place. And it's not that it isn't fixable, it's just a waste of time. Okay, so I want to use a green that's like this, not this one, even though I've actually dry brushed it more. Okay, and that's just what I've found that works best. So we're going to come over here and we just need to clean this C up a little bit. There we go. Done. All right. And it's going to end up getting dry brushed over a little bit, so it'll all blend in there a little bit better anyways. Let's take the turret back off. Turitskaya. I don't know what the hell turret is. I don't care. So this time we start with a bend, but we start from the other direction. And we do the exclamation point. We're going to do it from here that way. Because I don't want to start here and then be like, oh shit, it's too far, or it's too much big of a gap, or something like that. It makes sense to write things in order, but sometimes you can't do that. And it doesn't really matter. It's just symbols that I can't understand anyways. Okay. And this kind of stuff, this is what I enjoy about the hobby the most. More than anything else, is this kind of shit that I like, you know, I like to think that it's stuff that I can do nobody else can do. That's not true. That everybody can do it. It's just other people don't do it. Many people don't do it. But this is pretty easy to do. I mean, it's... Okay, I'm not going to start with the exclamation point. I'm going to start with a B just before it. Okay, I'm going to leave space for the exclamation point. Make sure this has the right amount of watering in it. Okay, and we're even with that, right? So we're going to put the B about here. Okay, now you can't do this without the flow aid or a thinner or something. You've got to control this so it doesn't catch on this. Now we'll put the exclamation point in. And we still have to clean that up a little bit. We have an O. The T. What's in front of the T? The C. The backwards N. The W. It's in front of the W. An A and a symbol. Okay, we've got plenty of space. It is a legit A, right? Yep. Or ish. Looks like it. And then the cute symbol. I want a tub. I want a tub, or whatever the hell. So I got to paint 6 Soviet trucks. I got to make them look different, give them personality. That's going to be cool. All right, and now we need oh, I fucked up. I fucked up. I hadn't really considered this. Okay, well, we can redo it. The bend should be over here, not over here. Right? It's not a big deal. That's the advantages of painting thin. Yeah, I guess I would have needed to put the bend over here and then put the gap and then put the rest of it the rest of the way. Well, son of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah, because the bend is part of the... All right. That's all right. We have some adversity. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort to do it. It's just stupid to have to redo things because we could be making something new instead of fixing something that's old. Let me take a look at something for a second. Let me see if I can find... That's not that weird of a logo. We're looking for the bend and we want it on the gun to start with, to the right. Hey, I make mistakes. I'm going to keep making freaking mistakes, unfortunately. I'm quite able to fix them. It's just kind of a waste of time to do that. Shit happens. It's what happens when we don't have a good producer. Let me see. I am certain, let's go to ScaleMates. I still have ScaleMates open. I'm certain that ScaleMates has. We're looking for a symbol with a bend. I have a feeling that's going to be one of the KV1. I believe that's going to be one of the ones with the big rivets on it. See, if something like this, if I had to redo something like at work, I'd be fucking pissed. If I'm redoing something here, first of all, I rarely have mistakes. And it was a pleasant experience painting those lettering anyway. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever, you know. Better to find it now than later. Okay, here's the model kits. Let me go to the one that has the big old rivets. I think... and that has that logo on it. Okay, here's the KV1B with applique armor. Let's see if this one has the instruction manual with this on it. I've seen it on a model kit that'll show me the size. If I'm going to correct that, I want to make sure that I'm correcting it correctly. Because otherwise you just end up creating more problems. Not a big deal. Holy fuck, I was mistaken. Holy shit. I made a mistake thinking I made a mistake. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see that because I'm not going to be able to see your screen when I do this, but let's see. How do I even know that it's centered? Okay, well, it's upside down, okay? It's upside down. I'm not going to I'm not going to rotate it for that. But look at that. It's right here. Unbelievable. I'm glad I didn't change it. Hot damn! And I was prepared to change it. That would have been really annoying to go and redo it and then realize, oh, it needs to be redone again. No. No. Yes, you do hear frogs. There you go. I made a mistake thinking I made a mistake. Which is funny because it doesn't make any sense that that's that way, but that's that way. Wow. Go figure. Weathering can make a lot of differences. Yep. These are going to be weathered lightly. All right. Got another bend. I'm glad I didn't jump to conclusions. I made it a little bigger on this side. That's fine. I got carried away. It's not like they used a decal. So was this, remember this little mixture that we made here with the green? Okay. There's one side, and there's the other. There's a guy that bought some Vallejo mud. I forget what his name is. And he does some really good stuff with it. Oh, I know what it is. He's on Facebook, and his symbol, his handle is something like World War II something modeling 172nd or whatever. That's like his name. And he does really good work with mud. Really, really good work with mud. I'm a little leery of it, but yeah, they're all weathered individually. So I've seen some trucks have some writing and stuff on the door. They need to have some kind of make them individually, make them different from each other, so I can tell them apart. But yeah, excellent. Can't wait to build them. I didn't think I was going to enjoy the building part. I think it would have been annoying but I actually like it. It's relaxing. It's relaxing. So I just want to see what the hell this looks like. Even though I have to take this off to paint it, just because I can get to it things a lot better. Oh, no, we got to do it the right way. Dropping lots of frames. What's this got? Notifications could be dropping frames. Yeah, and this is without any kind of weathering at all. I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, so what time is it? Well, the girls aren't here yet. How long have we been on here? Oh shit, well, it's been 3 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one off because I'm not gonna be able to finish the weathering with the girls on the way, and I don't want to leave halfway through. So we'll start that off. This is where we left off with these critters. Pretty darn happy with this. Let's move this out of the way. Now, this picture, the vehicles look about as good in real life as they do on the picture you guys are seeing. So that's good. That's promising. But remember, we're still going to have, you know, there's these saws here that'll get painted. There's a headlight here that's going to get painted. And of course, they're going to get weathered. We're going to do some smoke effects. Mild, but this is exhaust that come out of the top. And, you know, it's cartoonish weathering. So, but so far, so good. Pretty happy with them. And anyways, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for coming by, and hopefully you saw how easy it is to hand paint the slogans. There's many more slogans left to do. Like I said, I'm going to do this one as well. This one's going to